if someone were to say to me from absolute ground zero, how to get rich? All right, it's a good question. So I would say do two things. The first thing I would say you should do is develop a phone addiction. And you should develop a phone addiction, but you should refuse to consume content and only create content. I have a phone addiction, but I'm not consuming a bunch of crap, right? I'm producing on my Twitter account. I'm constantly tweeting. Doesn't matter if it's just tweets, doesn't matter if it's TikToks, doesn't matter if it's YouTube videos. Produce.
Yep.
If you spend all those waking hours producing, eventually people will pay attention to you.
Yes.
And we live in an attention economy.
Yep.
This is the economy we now live in. It's no longer about competence like it used to be. It's not even so much, it's about attention and it's about network. It's those two things. It's who you know and it's how many people pay attention to you. So if you develop a phone addiction and you refuse to consume and you only create, you'll start to attract attention sooner or later. And when you can do that, there's usually lots of different ways to monetize it. So if someone came to me and said, I have nothing, no skills, no money, nothing, and I had to get rich, I'd say that's what you should do. You should get a phone, develop a phone addiction, and you should start to create. Look, you have to create things in the world we live in. You have to create things. When you create things, you'll get attention, and you can always find a way to monetize attention. Jake Paul has monetized attention.
Yes. Yep.
That's all he's done. He hasn't made his money being the best boxer. He's monetized attention. You have to find a way for people to pay attention to you. And the problem is with the people out here, everyone has a dream, but not many people have a plan. A dream and a plan are different things. When you say to guys, do you want to be rich? Yeah, I want to be rich. How will you get rich? One day when the shit comes in. So you can have a dream with no plan. When's the last time something fantastic has ever happened on accident? When's the last time you've seen a big jacked dude and you say, hey man, how'd you get so jacked? And he goes, don't know, oops. Don't know, it just happened. No, he planned it. He went to the gym, he ate a certain way, he planned his meals, he had to make it happen. It's exactly the same with getting rich. You need a plan to get rich, right? Most people everyone out there has a dream, but very few people have a plan. Yep. If you're surrounded by people who have a plan to get rich, and you provide value to them in some way, because they're not going to drag you up if you ain't doing nothing, because that's what friendship is. Friendship is value exchange.
Yeah.
If you provide value to them, sooner or later you're going to begin to make money. I only used to sit and talk to my friends about money. None of us had any money, right? But if we walked into a coffee shop and we bought coffee, we would then sit there over our coffee and analyze, how did this coffee shop make us give them our money? Because that's what's happened. We've given our money to this coffee shop. Why? Did we really want coffee? Where is it located? Is it a convenient location? Is it because of the brand of the coffee? Is it because the waitress is cute? Why are we in this particular coffee shop? Why didn't we go to that one? Why are we in this one? If we were to open up a coffee shop next door, how could we outcompete this one? What's the rent for this place? What's the margin on a cup of coffee? Everyone in here's a man. If you notice, everyone in here's a man in a business suit. Why is the person serving not a hot girl? Why is it a guy? Do they sell sandwiches? Do they sell cake? Like, start to actually think. Think about the money. And then if you do that every single time you spend money on anything, you're gonna end up realizing there's tons of gaps. There's gaps in the market everywhere. You'll start to sit there and go, you know what? I could open up a coffee shop right next door to this fucking coffee shop. Change this, this, and this, and murder this place. But people don't think about it. People just give their money away all day, and it never even crosses their mind about how they were convinced to give their money away.
Yeah.
You know? Because if you want to get rich, you're not the Federal Reserve. You can't create money from the sky. You need to convince other people to give you their money. So every time you give your money away, work out why.
Yep.
You know, so you need to be surrounded by people who think this way. You need to adopt this attitude. I've always had it even when I was poor. You need to start to realize that the traditional methods of creating wealth, which are advertised to you, are a scam. The idea that you can just work really hard, save up, get a mortgage, and in 35 years pay the house off, and then you'll be rich. That's not real. That's what your parents did, right? The average cost of a house during your parents' era was like 4 times the wages or 5 times the yearly wage or something. Now it's completely out of control.
Yeah.
It's completely out of control. Patience is what they tell the slaves to convince the slaves to keep being slaves. That's what it is. If I was in charge of the world, right, and I had a working class of slaves, which is what the working class is. I don't use that word slaves unironically, right? You're slaves, and I'll tell you why. If I can create something from thin air, and I can create unlimited amounts of it, and I can make you give up your life for this thing, you're my slave. If I could create dollars from thin air, unlimited amounts, and I can make you sacrifice your life.
Fiat currency.
And make you sacrifice your life for a tiny percentage of what I can create from thin air, you are my slave. Because even if you say no, I'll say, I'll give you some more. Oh, okay. Oh, here's some more of the free thing I make. Here, go do it. Go clean the streets, idiot. You're a slave, right? So the slaves, what they do to keep the slaves being slaves is they advertise patience. Don't worry. Here's what you do. You go to school, you go to college, you go to university, you get in debt, you get a mortgage, you get in more debt. You work really hard. Don't worry. Your life's shit now, but in the future it'll be good. Don't worry. A good day's coming. You might retire with a 401k. Keep working. Keep going, slave. You can do it. Patience is how they trick you into keep being a slave.
Yep.
I turned myself from no money to my first million in 2 years to 30 million 3 years later. That's how fast you can make money if you're about money. If you're about it, right? So I've never believed in patience. You gotta forget the patience. You gotta forget the people who
Money loves speed, man.
Money loves speed.
Yeah.
You gotta forget the people who aren't about money around you. It's gotta be all you think about, all you talk about. You gotta start producing. You gotta start attracting attention one way or another. And if you do all those things, you will start to make some money. But next time you're sitting with your friends, this is a challenge for every single person watching this. Next time you sit with your friends, unprompted, come in, sit down, and just join in the conversation. Just join in whatever they're talking about. And after about 20 seconds, sit and think, this is bullshit. This is not gonna make any of us rich. They're talking about this, that, this bitch, fucking football game, this guy. This is not gonna make any of us rich.
Yep. Nonsense.
Eureka, I am wasting my life.